Okay, so today I'd just like to do a quick video on how to use chopsticks. When I went to Japan and I was taking the bus from Tokyo to my prefecture, which was Shizuoka Prefecture, we learned a couple things for our first introduction, and that was watashi wa onamae desu, whatever your name is, and then Canada ni ikimashita, and then yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And the other thing that we had to practice was how to learn how to use chopsticks. So first of all, these chopsticks were taken from St. Lawrence Market in Toronto, in a legit full Japanese sort of takeout restaurant. And then these were taken from my local Sobeys, the supermarket in my town. So you can see with these ones, they are a bit sort of separated, and they're pointed. So these ones are a little bit harder to use, but the break, when you break them, they're cleaner. So you don't actually have to rub them down, rub any sort of shards of wood off. So I'm going to use these ones second, and then these ones are the legit Japanese ones. And you can see that first of all, they've got a square tip. They're not pointed. So the pointed ones are a bit more, what would you say, festive, or a bit more celebratory. And so you would use something like this for like a Christmas meal or something a bit higher end. Whereas these are everyday sort of chopsticks. And with these ones, actually it's kind of the same. They're already separated, but from this point forward, or from this point down, they're stuck together. So you can't really see, but it's a bit rough. So what you do is you just sort of take each chopstick, not on your food of course, but you just rub those down to make sure you get any shards or loose wood that you're not eating. And then okay, so as I said, when I was on this bus to Shizuoka, I tried to learn how to hold chopsticks, and you get these little cards that tell you how to hold them and everything else. And I eventually just said, I think, for instance, the traditional way is to use this finger, the middle finger, as a pivot point. But I couldn't figure it out. So all I did was just sort of do what worked for me. And what worked for me was pressure on this finger via the thumb, and pressure on the middle finger. This is the index finger, or your ring finger, sorry, and this is your middle finger. And so you just put pressure on both of them and use the top part as a leverage. So you always straighten it out like that. And so anyways, I found, I was really frustrated with trying to learn how to use it. Maybe it's my chubby fingers or something, but then I just said to heck with it. And I did it the way I wanted to. So my message here is just to do it however you feel comfortable, whatever works for you. So in this case, that's how I use them. So a couple things. First of all, this is gyozas. They're cooked today from our deep fryer, our ActiFry, that's what it's called. And this is one of the first things you'll eat. Well, it's a really good food in Japan, or I guess Asia anyways. And so here's a better one here. This top part, this is like an Asian dumpling, like an Asian pierogi almost. And so, just to learn how to use chopsticks, start wrestling with these. And when you eat them, you dip them in soy sauce and wasabi. But right here, the top part is the hardest part to grab. And so if you can grab it like that, and sort of manipulate it, hold it upside down, shake it, then this is a good practice. Also, another good practice is just to grab the wrapper that the chopstick comes in. So can you grab it and sort of manipulate it? Anyway, sorry, I'm looking at the camera. Okay, so the first thing I would say to learn with is a gyoza piece, or some sort of thicker piece that's a bit squishy, and then you can learn how to use your hands to manipulate it. Now, when I moved into Japan for 3 months, or I lived there for 3 years, but around the 3rd month, I came up with this theory. So my chopsticks are in the corn here. And if you can take 3 pieces of corn, so there's 1 piece, another piece, stack it on top, and then take that 3rd piece of corn and stack it on top, and then you can take all 3 pieces of corn and eat them, then I define that as someone who's good at using chopsticks. So my wife, when she came over after I had been there for 9 months or something, she was able to get this right away, the very first day. I took her out for dinner, and she was able to get the 3 pieces of corn, and then of course you just eat it. So let's see if I can't pull out, let's say 4 or 5. There's 1. Get relatively big ones. That one's pretty small. There's 3 pieces. Four pieces of corn, and we'll go for a 5th. But like I say, I defined excellence as 3 pieces. So there's 5 little kernels. And then I only got 2 in my pickup, so whatever. Stick with the 3. And then the final thing that I thought was the best way is just to take a piece of paper and scrunch it up. So just a regular old letter size or A4 size sheet of paper. And so just like the gyoza, you can pick it up like this or however you need to, but the hard part is trying to get a little individual slice. So you can see right there, I'm just holding on to it with one, like wherever it's thin, a thin piece of the paper. So just take a scrumpled up piece of paper and try and pick it up and manipulate it like this. Okay, I'll try the more festive or decorative or whatever type chopsticks, which is in a point. And so same thing, just use the gyozas however you can. Take your kernels of corn, 1. Let's go cross section, 2. You know, cross section's probably not going to work. 3, and then pinch, and then I can eat those, yum yum. And of course, this is actually really a lot harder with the pointed pieces. So here's an example right there. See, it was hard the first time there, that's a little bit better. And just a couple of rules about chopsticks. Let's say this is your plate, for instance. When you're done, you put your chopsticks across your plate, and that indicates you're done. What you're never supposed to do is drive chopsticks into your food like that. Because this is what, let's say for instance in Japan, if a family member passes away, like a parent or a grandparent, a lot of times they keep the urns of the ashes in the house, and they will cook an extra plate for the passed away or the deceased ancestor. And so when they offer the food, when everybody else is eating, in the pray room or the shrine room where the urn would be held, they would have the food with chopsticks in it like that. So that almost indicates death. This chopstick straight in is a symbol of death, and so it's not looked well upon. So anyways, good luck. I found it really frustrating at first, but then I found it really rewarding. A couple Japanese people told me that forks are disgusting, forks and knives, because you reuse them. And this is a pure way of eating because they're just disposable, you throw them out, and so it's a lot cleaner. However, it decimates forests, and it's not environmentally friendly, but whatever, to each their own. So good luck using chopsticks.